the virtual backgrounds are taking precedence, you know.
Mhm.
uh, and that's becoming a way to say I can control the environment. I don't have to travel, I don't have to move outside. I can do everything in a huge virtual production stage. I can do my LED screens, I can put whatever backgrounds, I can control the lights. I'm in
Mhm.
more control.
What do you think is going to be the future direction of cinema? Because are we going in for real locations in future, or are we going to create locations using VFX and CGI within the studio premises?
I think that's a fantastic question, and I'm really excited to talk about that because the last year I've been dabbling with virtual production. And basically, what has happened is something that would take us many, many years in planning, a lot of expensive budgets to create these outdoor locations in visual effects. What
Mhm.
is happening right now is that we're able to use virtual production and take very minimal amount of crew and recreate the backgrounds within a studio environment without having to physically travel there or even create most of it. So a lot of the raw material is being shot, projected on screens with very little props in the front, which can be 3D or even physical props that can be in the foreground where the character interacts with, and everything else is becoming virtual. Even the cameras are becoming virtual. So like I would say that that's basically the future, and with technology, things are changing so rapidly. The LED screens are changing. 5 years ago, the LED screens were used for a particular kind of thing. Today, they're being used by everybody and anybody, and in the future, they're only going to get cheaper and more accessible. So a lot of people can actually use virtual production right in their studio, in their house, in their rooms.
Mhm. As somebody who has worked a long time, almost a lifetime, in the VFX animation CGI industry, would you do you think the world is moving in the direction of indoor studio productions rather than going to actual locations? You know, the focus on locations and the materials outside in the exterior space, outdoor space is going down slowly, and there would be a time that everything would be confined to the studio setup.
Yes, and that's what we talked about earlier in the beginning with your question of virtual production.
Mhm.
That's exactly what I think is happening as a
Mhm.
trend right now in the world. So if you take a
Mhm.
look at Mandalorian, or if you take a look at some of the big TV shows that have been produced
Mhm.
recently, the virtual backgrounds are taking precedence, you know.
Mhm.
Uh, and that's becoming a way to say, I can control the environment. I don't have to travel, I don't have to move outside. I can do everything in a huge virtual production stage. I can do my LED screens, I can put whatever backgrounds, I can control the lights. I'm in
Mhm.
more control because a filmmaker basically wants more control on what they want, where the camera is going, how detailed, whether they want to do a close up, whether they want to do a wide shot, whether it's an extreme wide. They're able to do all of that with the technology of virtual
Mhm.
production, as I understand. So is that going to be the only way? I think that's the beginning
Mhm.
of merging art, science, and technology, in a way that we will see beautiful visuals. Um, but I think it's going to become a hybrid of something. Now very rich clients or with rich producers are able to touch that. What needs to
Mhm.
happen is that technology should become as simple as picking up a phone and doing a film, right?
Mhm.
That's what is the magic that we all need. It's not just confined to confined to expensive budget films, but it also needs to become so accessible that an independent filmmaker should be like, yes, I can use virtual production for my project because I can make it done faster. I don't have to travel that far. My crew can't travel that far. I can do everything in one location and do it faster. Yes.
Today, when we look at the filmmaking, the
Uh-huh.
studio, as you said, virtual film production is far costlier because there are thousands of workers who work on each single image, vis-a-vis external or exterior filmmaking, which requires only a small crew of, let's say, 50 or 100 to shoot a film, and that is much faster. Creating images, that process is faster in the exterior setup than in a virtual setup, as on date, and therefore the virtual setup today is costlier. Would there be a time, do you foresee the future? Would there be a time when the costs in the indoor setup, the virtual production setup, would change, would come down, and it would be more economical, and therefore it'll make more business sense to invest in such things?
I just want to rephrase that question a little bit. I think
Mhm,
the virtual production is actually real time,
mhm,
which was not happening before.
mhm,
Earlier, you would have to wait. You'd have to, like much earlier in the days, you would shoot something, then you would process your film reel,
mhm,
then you would go to a projector, then you would project your film, you would watch it, right? And then the
mhm,
digital came in where you were actually seeing everything. Then
mhm,
the visual effects and the live action merged together, where you shot everything on a green screen and you didn't know what was in the background. The actors
mhm,
had to assume that that's what was going to be in the background.
mhm,
Today, I think the magic is that everybody knows exactly what's there, so the backgrounds which we're talking about are not green screens anymore. They're actual backgrounds, and the actors are in that space. They're emotionally more grounded, they're connected to their environment. So, and it's real time because everybody is seeing it. So I
mhm,
think the change of real time technology in terms of virtual production has actually made some things more, I want to say, we're able to fail faster,
mhm,
in a better sense. I don't know if I'm making sense. Like, if this iteration in pre-visualization is not making sense, I'm not having to spend 3 months, 4 months constructing that shot. I'm actually able to do that within 4 weeks and say, yes, this works great,
mhm,
and save my time on production and pre-production, versus the joy, I want to call it the joy of failing faster, in the sense that I do something and I say, this is, like I show it to the director, or the director or the artist, the virtual production artist shows it to me as a director and says, director, is this what you want? And I can say, no, this is not what I want. And then that iteration is happening much faster, so I am
mhm,
saving time on my virtual production, by using virtual production, right? Because I'm saying no quicker and I'm saying yes when I see exactly what I want. So
mhm.
it's already happening, is what I want to say with real time.